Damn, it's super dark right now, but we're gonna punch some people. All right, so this is your boy Infinite Sage with the one and only Curious Joy, and we
Hi.
are going to be talking about Black Widow that just came out, and I guess I'll start it off. I mean, I'll just say it right now. I liked it. I enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun watching Scarlett Johansson uh, go ham on that movie, and she had she be the character of her actually became more interesting as they delved into her background and her origin, and I actually started to really enjoy the character a lot more now. And holy crap, I'm getting bopped super early. This is great. To be honest, I really like the character. I like the cool, sophisticated, you know, get the job done type of assassins type of stuff. You know, kind of like with like Hitman or something like that. You know, like those the 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 hitmen are the assassins that don't take any crap. And Joy, you're like a big fan. I know you're a big fan of Widow. You even cosplayed her a
Yeah.
couple of times as well. So I know you're a big fan of her too. So what do you think? Like, what did you think of the movie when you first checked it out?
So I thought the movie was fine,
Yeah.
but it wasn't a movie about Natasha. It was a movie about uh setting up the new Black Widow. It was mainly focused on Yelena, who is going to be the Black Widow moving forward.
Mm-hmm.
But the problem with watching the movie was the whole time I'm sitting here like, well, she's dead.
So okay, so okay, so I get what you're saying. Yeah, the idea that you already know that the character isn't alive anymore kind of ruins the, oh, well, is she gonna die in this movie, you know, type of thing. Yeah, I get what you're saying. Is that she the idea that, and I hate the idea of that, like where if you know the outcome of a character, you already know that she is going to survive whatever it is that they're going to throw at her. So there's no point in
Yeah.
being like, oh no, what's going to happen? Is he going to kill her or something like that? Like the outcome
And
is, oh, she's fine. You know, like you already know.
the
So
the funniest part was like kind of at the beginning when her and her sister got together
yeah,
and that one widow was following her. It's like the only widow that fell off and like broke her leg and then died.
yeah,
And
yeah.
then like Black Natasha, like ScarJo's Black Widow, ping ponged all the way down the building and landed on her feet and nothing happened. And I was like, oh yeah, well she's fine. We
It's
clearly
it's
already
it's
know
fine
that.
because she was using acrobatics. It's fine. Don't think about it. Don't ever think about it. Acrobatics. It's a Black Widow. She's fine. I gotta say, the other Black Widow that was presented, I absolutely love her. I think her sister was awesome. As much as I
Yeah.
enjoy Scarlett Johansson's performance of the Black Widow, I actually enjoyed the personality of her sister a lot more. Like the fact that she kept making fun of her sister in that aspect was really cool.
Yeah.
I did enjoy. I enjoyed the interaction with the two sisters. I enjoyed the interaction with her and the rest of the family. And I also enjoyed the progression, kind of like the how the sister was starting to grow up and become accustomed to how dysfunctional that whole family was kind of cool too. I think she's a good addition. I don't think anybody can honestly replace Scarlett Johansson as like the Black
No,
Widow.
she's like the she's almost like the starter pack Black Widow, whereas like Yelena is more of the comics accurate Black Widow. With
Okay,
one,
okay,
she has the accent. She's a little bit more like vulgar because
yeah,
it went a bit more mature with the movie.
okay, okay.
So it it's like we had a Black Widow. Now we have like this very rustic like assassin style murder kind of Black Widow versus the kind
Okay, so
that
have
Scarlett
have
Johansson got.
have you actually been following the comic books of Black Widow? Because I haven't. I don't know anything about the Black Widow outside of the movies and some of the cartoons. And I've seen some of the cartoons and stuff like that. And she's a pretty dope character. I've always loved her gadgets and stuff like that and what she brings to the table. The idea of a character that doesn't have any superpowers and can still hold their own against the superheroes like
See,
Batman is
well,
really cool
here's
to
the
me.
thing: the movie even the movie literally glossed over it. This movie specifically,
Mm-hmm.
the main guy, he said, "Oh, well, Natasha got a little something something too." That sounds dirty, but like they're trying to imply that Natasha does have some of the super soldier serum that Captain America has,
Yeah.
which is why she's not like super duper humanoid, and
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
they hinted that in the movie, but then it's like, what about? And like Yelena, they didn't really specify that on that end, but
Yeah. So I actually didn't catch that part. So it might actually be hinted that she has super soldier serum in her body that's that could kind of explain why she's able to survive some of the stuff that's out there, or why she's able to go toe to toe with some of the bigger guys and stuff like that. What about Hawkeye? I don't think he has any special thing going on with him. I think he's just really good at being really efficient with his arrows. Good for you, buddy.
no, I think he's pretty basic, but like he always stays far away, so it's not like he has to really do anything.
Get in there and actually fight and stuff like that. Yeah, also Hawkeye's just a prodigy. Okay, so that makes sense. I guess we can go to spoiler territory now, because I really do I really did enjoy this this movie for the most part. I mean, there were some parts that were kind of a little slow or whatnot, but ultimately I thought it was fun. Like I said, I enjoyed. Oh god. I enjoyed watching the movie and the interaction with her and her sister, but I wanted to see where they were gonna take that whole aspect, and maybe try to find a way to I guess pretend that there was a way to bring Scarlett back or whatnot. Yeah, like you said, there's two different personalities. There's two different Black Widows, and I don't know. In the comics, is there multiple Black Widows as opposed to just
Yelena's a Black Widow.
Okay, so she is officially like a Black Widow. And,
yeah, that's an actual character.
Okay, cool. Okay, so then I guess they're not.
Yelena's, I believe, is the first Black Widow. I think.
Oh, really? So then Scarlett's actually also Scarlett wasn't the original Black Widow as far as like the whole I guess the diaspora of all the characters that were put together. I don't know how many Black Widows there are.
I know Natasha and Hawkeye were introduced at the same time. That's why they have that personality. That's why in the movies they have that personality.
Okay.
Together, like that friendship together.
Okay. So the thing about Natasha, and I guess why some people probably don't like the original Black Widow, is that she's kind of tame. Not tame, but in the sense of, well, like I said before, she's very straightforward. She gets the job done. She doesn't like, throw out any quips or anything like that. I think Scarlett is perfect for that part. No disrespect, but Scarlett is perfect for that part because she's played those kind of characters before. Like, so she had Lucy, Ghost in the Shell, and she also did an older movie called Under the Skin. All three of those movies is her basically playing a character that had no emotion. Like, she had very little to zero emotion, and I think Scarlett plays those characters very well. It's not a disrespect to the actress or anything like that. She's obviously a great actor, but she's a great actress, but I think she does that very well, where she plays that kind of stern character that takes no for an answer, or doesn't take no for an answer, and just gets the job done type of thing. And I think that's really cool. She does it well in here, and to have a Black Widow that is the exact opposite of that is really cool, and I can't wait to see what the other one brings to the table as well.
Yeah, especially since she's gonna be in Hawkeye.
Right? I mean, I guess I guess here we go with the spoilers. They hinted at the end of the movie that she's going to go after Hawkeye. Is that going to be an Avengers movie, or did they say it's going to be like an actual Hawkeye movie, which is going to be separate altogether? Like, I don't know.
TV shows.
Oh, it's going to be a TV show where she actually goes after. So they'll actually build up the new movie with her and him, so that when the next Avenger movies come out, it won't be as foreign, you know what I mean? It'll probably be foreign to the people who just go to the movies and be like, oh, okay, cool, that's fine. But Hawkeye getting his own series is kind of cool too. I don't mind them building up the characters. I think that's a great idea, so that we can have more of a background for these characters when the new movies or the new era of Avengers starts, and that's cool. Natasha going through what she went through in this movie, I think is great for building a character that ultimately doesn't go anywhere. I thought it was funny that she pretty much friend zoned the hell out of that poor guy that was getting her the helicopters and the planes and shit. And she was like, yeah, thanks. Okay, I'll see you. Bye. And the man was sitting there in tears. You could tell he was so devastated. Why would you do that, Natasha? Why? And the idea of her and her family being that estranged, they were together for 3 years, but that's all they knew as being a family, was kind of cool too, because I think it builds the character, but it doesn't make sense to what she was talking about at the end of Endgame, where she kills herself. Because at the end of the Endgame, where she kills herself, she basically says, well, I don't really have a family anyway, so just drop me in. And I'm like, well, you do have a family. You admitted to that, and that's what this movie is all about, is you rediscovering your family. So why did you kill yourself if you had people that were waiting on you? So I guess I don't know if they actually thought that long ahead, or if they just kind of threw that in there.
The way that I saw it, it made that decision that she had make more sense, because she realized she does have family, and then she knows that Hawkeye has a family.
Yeah.
And that's why she's like, well, go tell him yourself. So it kind of like connected it in that sense, where it's like, does it come out of the blue?
Yeah.
Like, oh, well, she's offering herself to like have Hawkeye be with her.
I get she's feeling that. I think I know what you're saying. Is that she knew what it felt to have a family, and if Hawkeye lost that, she would feel bad about that. So she wanted him to survive instead of her, so that he could live out the rest of his days with his family, as opposed to her with hers. I guess that kind of makes sense. The whole plot with Taskmaster was a little rough, only because of the people who are very big Taskmaster fans. To me personally, I'm not a huge Taskmaster fan. I don't know that much about the character. I think his abilities are cool, that he can pretty much manipulate anybody that he sees, and that he has a personality, and I thought that was really cool as for the original character. But when they brought in this particular Taskmaster, I can understand why everybody was upset. I can understand why an origin story for a character that has already been established, that people have an attachment to, especially when it comes to the comic books, is very it's very personal to them. They want to see their character come to life, and when they see their character come to life and it's completely something different than what they thought it was going to be, I can understand why they get upset. And then you have a character like Taskmaster who has a really interesting personality in the comic books, and then you come to the movie and he has no personality. You're like, what the, like, why is this a thing? Like, why is this happening? I get it. I totally get it. But how they presented the character makes sense for the story of, they needed a plot twist. They needed that. They needed the M. Night Shyamalan thing going on, where they're like, oh man, who is this mysterious character, and how are they gonna what's the connection between her and Black Widow? I get it. They should have used a different character. They shouldn't have used Taskmaster. They only used Taskmaster just so that they can have a name of another villain that is recognizable to put into the story. I think the same thing with the Mandarin is the same thing. They just needed a villain that is well known, and they'll just make it their own. Then they ruin the character, and then people get upset, and then they wonder why. So I understand that. Personally, I thought the character was cool in their own right. If they were a standalone, I'd be all for it. I'd be like, oh yeah, this Taskmaster character is awesome. Like, oh, it's the more vicious, brutal assassin that she had accidentally thought she had killed when she was younger. But no, it's actually a vicious killer that's going after her, and it's actually the daughter of the guy that she's going after and stuff like that.
Yeah, it fit the story.
It fit the story. It didn't need to be Taskmaster, and I understand why people are upset. That alone might have ruined the movie, to be honest, because a lot of people are complaining about that. And I don't think that is the core of the movie. I think there's more to the movie than just that. But unfortunately, people will focus on that and be like, oh, this movie was terrible. Why? Because they ruined Taskmaster. And I'm like, well, outside of that, what did you think of the movie? And they'll be like, no, they ruined Taskmasters. Fuck it. And I'm like, okay. The movie was good in its own right. I think the character progression and the story, the character arc, as well as the family coming together was a great nod and a great send off for Scarlett Johansson as well, or for Natasha as well. I think outside of Taskmaster, it went well. It wasn't a terribly slow paced movie, and it wasn't like super crazy over the top action packed. I think it was a great blend, and it worked well. They said Taskmaster was a waste. To be honest, I think they could still introduce Taskmaster in the MCU by just having a different version of him, and he'll be more original to the storyline. The same thing with what they're doing now with is it Shang-Chi? Am I saying that right? The Shang-Chi movie the one that's coming out. They're already reintroducing the Mandarin.
The Mandalorian, yes.
Yes, they're reintroducing the Mandalorian. Yes, they are. So they could do the same thing with Taskmaster. I don't think that's the end of the character, but you know.
Okay, but like here's the thing. I am a huge Marvel fan, like MCU fan. The movies are great, or they're good enough, or they're like, you know, they have a beginning, a middle, and an end.
Yeah.
Besides Thanos and besides Killmonger, when's the last time an MCU movie has had a villain not be wasted? So I don't know why everybody is surprised that Taskmaster was a waste.
Yeah. Almost all of the villains that they used in there was kind of just there and gone. Oh, they said Loki as well.
Oh, and Loki as well.
Yeah, Loki as well. Sorry. Yeah. They're kind of like just jobber villains that they just throw in there and then not be able to just throw in there. I guess
they're always just like, oh, okay, well, cool. And so it's almost like the similar instance where everybody has to fight someone similar to them.
Yeah.
Iron Man had to fight what's his face that was similar to him in the first one.
Yeah.
Ant-Man had to fight the one that was similar to him in the first one. They weren't gonna pick some random Black Widow to be the villain, so they had to pick somebody that was like, oh, this is a named person who can have the ability of
his name was Ironmonger. Was Ironmonger a real character in the comics?
It was Jeff Bridges.
Like seriously, like that was the villain, right? Like the villain was Jeff Bridges. It wasn't Ironmonger. Like I don't know. Like
I don't. Anybody. It was just Jeff Bridges.
Okay, so it was just okay. So yes, he was an original character in the comics. So they are grabbing these characters from the comics. They're using, you know what's honestly, that's what they're doing with these comics. They're just using them as storyboards. They're like, okay, we'll take these characters that the people like and we'll slap them in because at least it's a character that the people will know that will get them to come to the theaters to watch the movie, and we'll just make them whatever we want. We don't really care. Just make a story, put them in there, and let people enjoy seeing their characters come to life. And don't worry about it. We'll figure out the lore of those characters later. Just put them in there, knock themselves out. I think the Vulture was pretty good. But also Mysterio was also pretty good. They were, again, getting the characters to be authentic to their original characters is tough. To be honest, it's very tough.
You can't spend time to get to know them.
Exactly.
Can't spend time to get to know the villains as well
as the heroes. Yeah, especially when
Black Widow had to introduce Yelena.
Yeah.
Black Widow had to keep Natasha's story going.
She also had to have an origin with her family as well. So there's so much to fit.
There wasn't any time for that, and like I get like the plot twist or whatever, but the plot twists work for this specific movie because then now Natasha, you know, she died without actual red on her ledger because she didn't really actually kill the person that she thought she did.
Yeah. So I to be honest, every villain that's been introduced, the ones that are the ones that we all like kind of appreciate and like enjoy the villainousy of these characters, if that's a word, like let's say like Thanos, is because they were able to build up that character. They were able to build up the origin. It took
10 years for Thanos to come into the picture.
Right, yo, and I'm telling you right now, if they don't do that with Doctor Doom, he is going to be a ruined character. He's probably going to end up like a jobber character like the rest. I've said this before, I'll say it again. Doctor Doom needs to have his own movie first before he can become the
Didn't
villain
he have
against
a
the rest of
movie?
them. Yeah, I don't know who's gonna play him. I don't know how it's gonna start. I don't care. Doctor Doom needs to have his own origin before he can be introduced into the MCU, or else they'll ruin the character 100%.
And then that's the good thing about having everybody have their solo movie, because when everyone comes together to take down somebody, you have more time to get to know the villain.
Yes,
So like
yes.
Loki in the first Thor movie, like he didn't really have a lot of screen time, and
Yeah.
no one got to know Loki until the Avengers movie, but you already knew all the Avengers, so you didn't have to sit there and spend time talking about to get to know the
Know the
Avengers.
characters. Yes, exactly. Joy's spot on with that. And I think that when they build a character, it's more engaging when you see the characters come together to defeat said character. I don't know. There isn't a single person that I know on the face of this earth that didn't feel when Captain America said "Avengers assemble" at the last fight at Endgame. When he got his hammer, he got Thor's hammer, and says "Avengers assemble." Everybody in the movie theater cheered. We were clapping. We were like, "Let's go!" And then the whole war came together. Why? Because we knew how powerful Thanos was, and how impactful he was to the entire MCU, and how important it was for them to defeat him. But when you have a character like say, Loki or Taskmaster or something like that, they get defeated and you're like, cool, whatever. Those characters weren't built, you know what I mean? Like, they didn't build those characters. It's fun to see. God, what's the robot one? God, the chat said it too. Ultron, there you go. Yes, Ultron. He was pretty cool because he had a personality. But like you said, they didn't really have time to build that character, even though there was a lot of screen time for that character in the movie. But he wasn't built enough long enough to he was built and then defeated in the same movie. So it wasn't like he was that much of a threat.
2 hours.
Yeah, he's not much of a threat. It's like, oh, okay, cool, we got him in the end. But with Thanos, you knew he was a threat. He was a problem. To do that with Doctor Doom is necessary, or else people will be like, whatever. They're talking about they're talking about Kang, and Kang. I don't know how impactful he's gonna be, but I mean, apparently he's really powerful or something like that. So that'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, but that's the good thing. That's the leg up now Marvel has, whereas they can start building up and telling more stories because of Disney Plus. So they have the TV shows and everything. So Zemo came back because of the Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Yeah,
we're gonna get more other side characters that didn't get the spotlight. To get to know them more.
I didn't even know who Zemo was until they actually introduced him into the story of the show. So I was like, oh, Zemo, cool. Who's this guy? But then he actually turned out to be pretty intriguing. So I was like, okay, all right, I want to know where they're going with this. I don't know, chat. Is Zemo pretty accurate to the comic book version of him as well? Like, did you follow Zemo, or do you know anything about Zemo?
I don't know. Zemo didn't put Bucky on a rocket, so I'm gonna go ahead and say no.
Sure, just you go out and do everything you can. But
they had some characteristics of the comic version of Zemo, but it has to be flared with.
That's the thing. Is that sure? And that's the thing. And that's the thing with Taskmaster. I'm gonna say this again. Is that sure, you can be comic book accurate, but you can't be 100% comic book accurate. For crying out loud, there was a Thanos copter. Like, he had a fucking helicopter in the comic books. Please, like, you don't have to be 100% accurate to the comics. And then the whole idea of
put that Thanos copters in
right. Like, and the whole idea of Thanos destroying half of humanity or half of existence to appease Death, who he was obsessed with. And then
Death was nowhere to be seen. So
exactly. Like, I mean, that whole plot point of him and Deadpool and Death and all that stuff is like, this doesn't make any sense. It's really dumb. You probably shouldn't put in a movie. Let's take some liberties on what we're going with the comic books and putting it into the movie, and we'll just go with that. They took too many liberties with Taskmaster, and they just said, we're just gonna do whatever we want with him, and we'll just turn him into this, and then people will like it because we're telling a story that has nothing to do with the character. Well, in my opinion, if you're going to do that, make a new character. You don't have to try to build off of the name of Taskmaster.
But like, who? like I mean my brother is a fan of Taskmaster, and the
Uh-huh.
only reason why he's very upset with what he likes the movie. So,
Yeah.
but the only reason why he was upset with what they did with Taskmaster is because he said it was only a waste of Taskmaster because Taskmaster would be a great villain for Deadpool.
Yeah.
To
Yeah.
be fair,
Yeah.
Taskmaster currently, regardless of what kind of Taskmaster we have, the person is not dead.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
so, and Deadpool is now part of the MCU. So to be fair, you can still get the version of Taskmaster fighting Deadpool. So it's like,
Okay, so I'm seeing Victor Von Gloom in here. He says, "Where's my Crimson Dynamo?" So you had the red God, what was he called? The Red Guardian. But she referred to him, the other Black Widow. She referred to him as the Crimson Dynamo, and he was like, "Nah, I'm the Red Guardian." I don't know the history of that character at all, but he was really cool. I love the actor. Like he played that part very well, and I would love to see him do more stuff. Even though at the point that he is in that show or in the movie, he's pretty much retired. You know what I mean? Like they would have to introduce a new red Guardian at that point. And I thought he was cool. I think the whole family orientation between the Black Widow and her sister and the father and the mother, who all literally were not related in any way, shape, or form. But I get the idea that these kids were kidnapped when they were young. They were forced into this life, and the only hint of family is what they got from a job that they had to do, and that was it. And that is like the origins of Black Widow in its sense. I don't know the comic book origins of Black Widow. I'm pretty sure it's different, but I like the way that they kind of built this character to somebody that we can kind of relate to, as having somebody that has to struggle with that idea of missing out on that whole entire aspect of having an actual family, and why she's like this in the first, why she's so cold to so many people, and how the character has an arc towards the end of Endgame, and why she did that in the first place. I actually didn't see it the way that you saw it until you actually said it to me, like right now, of that arc of why she actually sacrificed herself. Because to me, I was confused on why she did that if she already had a family. But now it makes sense, you know. It's like, well, she knows what it feels like, so she's letting Hawkeye experience that since she's already gone through it. So I get it. But with this character and her family, I think that it would have been interesting to see where it would have gone if she had stayed alive and started to build like a correlation with all of the other widows that she had freed at the end of the movie. You know what I mean? Maybe she could have found a way to like free even more widows, not just by touching a button on a computer and be like, "Hey, you guys are free now. Here you go." And then, you know, like she gave that information to her sister, which will probably follow her storyline all the way through the end of, you know, her I guess campaign with Hawkeye. Another thing I want to touch on is the ending. What the heck is her name? Natalia Skorovacci or something like that. It's the actress from Seinfeld. Yes. I want to see more of her, but when I look at like the comic book version of the character she's playing, completely different. So yeah, Elaine from Seinfeld. Yes, thank you.
It's just Elaine.
Yeah, it was just Elaine. Yeah, we no one knows her real name. Nobody does, even though she had like a really successful show on HBO after that, playing the president. It was awesome. I watched that too. Completely forgot her name, but the idea that she's gonna be in the background. Oh God. Oh Jesus. Oh yeah, I'll just update now. It's fine. The idea that she's gonna be this mysterious character pulling all the strings in the background is really cool, and she already did that with another spoiler alert with Captain America as well. So I want to see where they actually build her character as well, because where they plan on going with this. Is this going to be a side story, or is it going to build to the main story and she's going to be a major villain within the
It's either
MCU.
gonna be like Dark Avengers or like
Something,
Thunderbolts
you know,
or
like
like a
yeah,
combine
I
between the
don't know
two.
anything. Is she part of Hydra? Like she made the U.S. agent, so now she's building off of the Black Widow. I don't know what exactly. Yes, Contesta Valentina de la Fuente. I love her name. Like it's so long. Contessa Valentina Alguera. Okay, hold on. Contessa Valentina Alguera de la Fuente. Yo, let's go. I love that name. And she's been a big part of the MCU for a very long time. I just don't know anything about her. So, she's a triple agent. So, damn. So she's all over the place.
She's
Okay.
not who I was about to say. I was about
Oh,
to say
she's
something
Madam
else, and then-
Hydra. Okay, so she's a big part of Hydra. She's not necessarily a cross agent where she's playing both sides. She's strictly Hydra.
Oh, she's
Okay.
evil.
Oh, okay. She's extra
That's
evil.
why it's like the dark versions of heroes. It's almost like it's like Marvel has their version of the Suicide Squad, which is like the Thunderbolts, and then the Dark Avengers. So what they're thinking about, what people are thinking about, since like looking at the way that Marvel is, they might just combine both Dark Avengers and Thunderbolts to be one like thing.
Oh, okay.
So they may combine those two personalities into
Weird.
one team.